It's March, which means it's time for another episode of Nick Madness 2018 Character Edition. I'm Casey.
And I'm Ashli. Last time we discussed the Round 2 results of Nick Madness and previewed the Round 3 matchups.
Yeah, and I can't tell, Ashli, which week had more drama, because last week's results were more shocking, but the process of this week took years off my life.
Boy, this is what I'm talking about when I say sometimes these polls get close. Guys, sometimes these polls get close. Sometimes these polls go back and forth, and there's a lot to talk about.
There sure is. So yeah, this week we are discussing the new results of Round 3. We're going to preview the fourth round, which will be the Elite 8 games, and we'll have our prediction bracket update, and a lot has changed there, so we'll get all that to you right now.
Also, if you're looking for these polls, be sure to follow us on Twitter at FNN_podcast. That's where we've been posting all of them. That's where we'll continue to post them, where you can, lose years of your life along with us. Also, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/FNN podcast. Check out our YouTube page and review us on Apple Podcasts so that others can find the wonderful podcasts that we've made.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, my hashtag Friday Night Nicktoons. By the way, Cam, thank you for your wonderful meme. It was clearly very appreciated by the community, and it's kind of a nice way to stick it to Ashli that people love it because you thought it wasn't funny, but clearly everyone loves it. So
you know what? I'll
wrong.
Say it's a lot funnier with Cam's beautiful work and the facial expressions. I think if Casey made it, it would have been at least 8,000 times less funny.
Fair enough. Let's just say because I came up with the idea, we're now tied again in our trivia competition, so we're going to have to do a fourth season.
Oh, goodness.
All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Now let's get started.
From the Nicktoons Animation Studio in Hollywood.
All right, you guys. Yeah, this is a wild one. If you just tuned in and looked at the end results, you might be like, hey, this wasn't that crazy of a week. But guys, that second day of polls made a huge difference. Not necessarily the biggest turnout in votes, but so many poll changes, and I was not ready for it.
Yeah, and we got a good amount of votes on this one. But the two games, we'll get to it, but the two games that made us lose our minds was Korra versus Timmy in Conference D and SpongeBob versus Sokka in Conference C. Both major characters, SpongeBob and Timmy, were going to go down until about the last, 12 hours of the polls, where it just barely tipped the scales.
So by
fascinating.
A couple of people found these polls and made the difference in this world. I don't know how it happened, but it was nuts.
If we had ran one-day polls, we would be talking about how Sokka and Korra beat SpongeBob and Timmy. But we didn't.
Yeah.
We ran 2-day polls, and it's all that arbitrary, folks. But we've got the results. The better characters probably won, honestly. I'd maybe argue that Korra is better than Timmy, but SpongeBob is the sponge for a reason. And Sokka's great, but I don't mind seeing him go.
Yeah, let's start at Conference A. We'll work our way over to the madness, but yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah. First game here, this was the one that I was pretty certain was going to go down this way. Azula won out with 65% of the vote against Tommy Pickles.
Kind of close, yeah. Closer than Azula's been tested before, but this was a 1 seed, so pour one out for Tommy, the 1 seed who had faced some trouble along the way, not so much against Ralph Bighead, but against the others. Now keep in mind that while a 5 seed doesn't seem very low, by the Elite 8, if no upsets happened, it would only be 1s and 2s. So a 5 seed being in here is a pretty big deal, especially a 5 seed that looks, in my opinion, ready to take this conference and enter the Final Four.
Yeah, it's some good stuff here. I also want to note this is Rugrats getting knocked out. We'll
Yes.
have a lot of shows getting knocked out in this round, but this is the one that does Rugrats in. I do think Azula is just a killer character. I think she's got a great chance at this conference. I do think Tommy Pickles put up a decent fight, 35%. That's respectable. I think good. That's a good pull there. No upset feelings there. I think it's a fair percentage. But yeah, Azula's just her overall persona is wild. And as I've said multiple times, I definitely underestimated the Avatar fan base. They are here and they are voting, and it is crazy. But that's about all I've got on that game. I guess let's get to her competitor here for Conference A.
Say, I think, I've always loved Azula. She's always been my second favorite Avatar character. She has some of the most memorable moments of the entire show, and to see her recognized in this way is pretty exciting, and I wasn't sure how far she'd go. Jenny Wakeman kind of gave her a little bit of a challenge early on, but she has knocked down her competitors, and she might do it again against Danny.
Yeah, she's kind of acting like her character does, honestly.
That's so true. Yeah, just ruthless. But yeah, then we have Danny and Helga, and I am really sad about this one, Ashley. It's the elimination of Hey Arnold, almost. We've got one more on the other side, but he also gets eliminated, unfortunately. Helga's so good. I would have voted Helga all the way to the Final Four. But Danny Phantom beats her out. I can't say I get it, but we've seen Danny Phantom is beloved by the community, and I respect that. So Danny wins with 63% of the vote to Helga's 35%. This one was never really in doubt. This was Danny's game once the voting opened.
And, again, you got 35%. I think that's respectable. It's the same that Tommy put against Azula, right? It's a respectable percentage. I do think that there's just this strong Danny Phantom love that goes on. I know we said before, it's not our favorite show. He's not our favorite character, but I do know they get a lot of love, and I don't think he's a bad character. I really don't. I'm not too mad about this one. A 3 seed beating out a 2 seed isn't exactly shocking. Mm-hmm. I will be interested to see Danny Phantom versus Azula. I think that could go either way, and I say that a lot, but I just don't know. I don't know anymore, and it's really tough because we're seeing these kind of probably similar time frames that they were on Nick, right?
Yeah, Danny Phantom maybe a little later? No, I think they were both 2005-ish, right?
Yeah, so around the same time, we've got around the same people watching and loving these shows, and it's very different characters, but we've got that title character versus one of the definitely more well-known, but you still have to know the show. I just don't know. If you didn't watch Avatar, would you just be like, I'm voting Danny because? I don't know. There's so many factors here. Anyways.
So that's Conference A. I say we just do the game, and then the upcoming game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's we'll keep it in the conference. So, we're close now. The winner of this game will win the entire conference, be a part of the Final Four, a huge accomplishment, even if they don't go on to win it all. I gotta say, I don't see either of these two winning it all. I don't see Azula or Danny, and I don't think anyone has either of them winning it all.
No, I actually think there's only one sole person that has Azula going further at all. Actually, wild.
That's
only
true.
Only one person will get that game right. Guaranteed.
Yeah, you're right. Either my dad or you.
Yeah,
my dad has Danny Phantom, you have Azula. Everyone else's choices have been eliminated. A lot of Helgas, a lot of Tommies, one Filbert. I love him. I wish I'd picked Filbert. I didn't. I picked Helga.
Nobody has Azula or Danny Phantom beating out Prince Zuko or Patrick, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody has either of them going further than this. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But one person will get that game right. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll have to, and again, that just goes to show you that bracket predictions are not predictive, because if they were, Helga Pataki would be right up there, and she is not. Anyways, want to move on to Conference B? We ready for that one?
Yeah, I think so, and I think Conference B proves to be the stronger contender for that left championship spot. I think these are better characters. Yeah, we start with Prince Zuko versus Hugh Neutron, and this one wasn't even close.
Yeah, 82% with Zuko and only 18% with Hugh Neutron. Honestly, I was pretty proud of Hugh for making it as far as he did. I didn't see him beating out Angelica. I wasn't even, I just wasn't sure.
Didn't he crush Angelica too?
Yeah, by like a solid amount. So,
So this is a great sign for people who have Zuko winning it all. This shows that Zuko's got a healthy chance at going all the way here.
Yeah, and I think this upcoming game, and we can scoot along to it, versus Patrick.
Oh,
this is going to be the first time that we see him against... I think we can just agree that SpongeBob as a show is like a powerhouse of a show, right? It won Nick Madness last year. It has that star potential. Whether or not Patrick Star himself does is up for debate, but this is the first fight against like a really crazy strong show like that. I still honestly am feeling like Zuko has the upper hand here, but I wouldn't bet my life on it, that's for certain.
Right.
Not after the chaos we've seen.
It just feels like within the Avatar universe, to use that sort of language, it feels like Zuko is destined to win this left side. It feels like it's just in the cards at this point.
The real question, though, Casey, is if he wins, do you think he'll finally have his honor back, or...
I just love the idea that we very well might get a Zuko versus Aang championship.
That would be so great for so many reasons.
Really cool. Yeah. But Patrick... So Patrick beat Ginger Fowley. It was closer than I thought. I'm thrilled that Ginger got 31% of the vote against a character from SpongeBob. A 3-season, kind of barely watched show that we love dearly, obviously, but versus Patrick, that, everyone's grandparents probably know who Patrick is at this point.
Yeah, I do wonder if We're in Between maybe did pull some of those people in, and if it did, I'm happy for it. Ginger is an amazing character herself. She's great, and I'm glad that As Told by Ginger made it a lot further than it did as a show, right? That she pulled through over here, Nothing wrong with making it past 2 games, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah, Sweet 16 appearance is great. And Patrick, it's hard to root against him. He's so likable. I wouldn't be furious if he beats Prince Zuko.
Again, this is...
I don't know.
We're looking at 2 ridiculously different characters.
They're so different.
Patrick Star has almost no development throughout the entirety of the series.
If anything, he gets worse.
Yeah, and he's not supposed to, right? But he's just this stupid
he becomes
starfish.
A child.
He's got some grade A lines, some grade A moments, like his mayonnaise instrument line that can never forget. But I just don't know. I guess I do think Prince Zuko is the better character, but I don't know. Does Patrick's meminess and quotingness, whatever you want to call it, quotability, is that going to be better than Prince Zuko's obvious, personal journey and whatnot? And I'm not going to get into too many of the details, but he has a very strong character arc if you've seen the show. So I just don't know. I struggle.
It's all subjective. I don't know if there's a right or wrong for this one. I know who I'll be voting for, and I know who I hope people vote for, but this one, just like Azula Danny, could go either way. So our potential matchups, Azula, Prince Zuko, which it would be the Agni Kai Bowl.
Oh, that would be great.
We could have Danny, Prince Zuko, which would be kind of interesting. We've got Patrick versus Azula, which I'd be even more at a loss for that one. Wow. Or Patrick, Danny, Phantom, which I think is the least likely outcome of these. But all 4 matchups are, I think, pretty possible.
Yeah, and so you can't even call these things after one day of voting, so who knows? Who knows what's what? Moving forward, I think that's about all I've got on Conference B. I think we've got some strong...
We're going to need the time to talk about C and D over here.
Mostly, especially D. C is but D is just its own... Okay, and we'll get there. Well, actually, the closest game of all of these is the one we're going to talk about right now. And
oh my goodness, I still can't believe this, Ashley.
I thought for sure that my entire bracket was burnt, gone, shredded to the ground.
But just think of the implication. So guys, SpongeBob got 51% of the vote. SpongeBob did beat Sokka and advances to the Elite Eight. That didn't look like the case for most of the voting time. Sokka was winning right away and never let up the lead until maybe 10 hours before polls closed. This is nuts. Sokka's a 12 seed. Maybe I underestimated him, but I really thought he would be out against Chucky right away. Well, I predicted Sokka, but you know what I mean. I thought Chucky would have the advantage. And he almost took down Nickelodeon's most ubiquitous character.
Yeah, and this is what I'm struggling with, Casey. Is I know a lot of people really love Sokka. They really do. Like we've seen it. Like I don't know exactly why, but there's strong specific Sokka love. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, is there strong specific Aang love? I know that people love the show. I just don't know how much love there is for Aang specifically. I mean, don't get me wrong, he crushed Grandpa Phil. That's my only hang up on the possibility of SpongeBob beating him out, is I don't know if there's as much character obsession as there is character obsession with Sokka specifically.
Maybe. I'm going to have a hot take here and say that Aang will get more than 70% of the vote and knock out SpongeBob.
Way. Absolutely no. I'm gonna say right now, there's no way that he's getting 70%. I just don't see that as plausible.
Well, we're gonna have to check in on that next week.
We will.
I think the fans 70%. Who love Sokka will also vote for Aang. Why would they vote for Sokka and then not Aang?
I mean, if they really love Sokka, but they don't necessarily really love Aang, right? That's what I'm saying.
That's dumb. Why would anyone have that opinion?
People do, though, right? Like, people have a Sokka obsession.
Aang is such a good protagonist, though. Sokka's great, don't get me wrong. Okay, well, I'm sticking to it. I might be dead wrong, but I think Aang wins, and I think Aang wins significantly.
I think 70% is crazy high, right? Like, even Patrick didn't beat Ginger by 70%. We haven't seen...
Fair point. I still think it's going to happen.
I still think you're horribly wrong here, Casey, but...
Well, we'll find out on Monday, won't we?
But yeah, Aang did crush Grandpa Phil 78% to 22%. I figured... I mean, Grandpa Phil's a pretty lesser-known character, right? Not lesser-known if you know Hey Arnold, but if Helga's out, it's no surprise to me that Grandpa Phil is out too.
I was just glad to see him do as well as he did. I thought maybe putting him as a 3 seed is a bit of a stretch, but he had a great showing in this tournament.
For sure.
So yeah, right, SpongeBob vs. Aang, that's really the one to watch. Like, these are all gonna be intense, but wow, this is like a mini championship.
Real quick, does anybody have Aang winning? No.
Winning it all? No.
Yeah.
But
I know a couple of people have Aang winning that game. I just meant, nobody has Aang champ.
Only 2 people have Aang in the championship, and one of them is me.
Yeah. Again, not saying it'll go one way or the other. I'm just curious as to what all of our predictions are, which again, we have seen time and time again, the brackets are not predictive. We will have at most one person getting one of these upcoming games right.
Yeah.
One person.
That's true. That is true.
That's
things are gonna get really nuts in these next couple of games because there's a lot of already eliminated. What's fascinating, we'll get into the prediction brackets, but there's one bracket in particular we have to talk about that I'm fascinated by.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. Let's move on to
kooky Conference D.
Yeah, God, this one too. So we'll talk about the first one first. Mm-hmm. Cosmo versus Squidward.
A 9 seed versus a 5.
And Squidward did win out, which is, seed-wise expected. 57% to 43%.
Pretty close.
It's actually pretty close.
With the sample size, that's like 5 votes.
Only 2 people got that one right. So
yeah.
I think that's is that the toughest one yet by number of people predicted correctly. Hold on, I gotta...
1, 2. Is there any that no one got? No.
I think that's the least predicted game that has happened thus far.
Yeah, very few people also had Cosmo over Arnold, but that was 5, so...
Anyways.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So yeah, Cosmo is, the only below an 8 seed, lower half that was still alive in the Sweet 16, which, mathematically you figure we're cutting it in half every time. So Cosmo beat the odds twice. Couldn't quite do it this time. What would be very fascinating is if Squidward ends up in the Final Four and SpongeBob doesn't.
Also, if that happens, then that will be a game that nobody has right.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, it seems like that might happen to one.
Or wait, no,
of
one
these
person.
games.
You're right, one person.
One
Shoot.
person has Squidward?
I actually don't think... Yeah.
Oh, Final
Final
Ray has
Four.
Squidward for the Final Four. I thought you meant for the championship.
No.
Right.
For the Final Four. I'm seeing... So I actually don't think any of... At least one person will get each of these upcoming games right.
Yes.
Games past that are... Who knows? But
right.
anyways.
Like, for instance, if nobody has Danny or Azula winning the left side of the bracket, which could happen.
Yeah. So...
And no one has Squidward.
No one has Squidward. Only one person has Squidward. Ray has Squidward.
And only a couple people have Timmy. So it looks like the only... Yeah, those are the only 2 examples where no one has it. Is Squidward going to the finals and Azula and Danny going to the finals. Everyone else is still fair game. But yeah, so Cosmo's gone. Good riddance, honestly. I love Cosmo, but what was he doing in the... What was he doing? This should have been Arnold's spot, and Arnold should have beaten Squidward. And yeah, I'm salty now that Helga's gone, okay? Sue me.
Yeah, like I said, ever since last year's, I've just grown to accept that the love for Hey Arnold is not as strong
no
as
respect. We need to do
as ours.
What's our Hey Arnold spin-off podcast? Is it a Here We Go, a Here We?
Oh no. That's all I have to say to that one. But
I don't know. Move it, football head. But once we do that, then Hey Arnold will start moving up in the world.
We will rock the entire Nicktoon universe, guys. Everyone's going to be wearing Hey Arnold shirts all over the place. It's going to be a whole thing.
Yeah. But Squidward wins. Squidward secures a place in the Elite 8. Squidward's a 5 seed, so tied with Azula for the lowest seed remaining. It'll be interesting if either of the 5 seeds get to the Final Four, where, if there were no upsets, it would only be 1 seeds in the Final Four.
Yeah. Moving forward. Yeah. God, this game, though. The Cora versus Timmy game.
I thought she had it. I really did.
And she did for a long time. Again, a little bit less close. We have a 52% to 48% with Timmy winning there. So slightly less close than the SpongeBob match there. Mm-hmm. But I just... Wow. That one was an emotional roller coaster. And I couldn't get this one right? Like, I had Jimmy winning this game. So I was pretty uninvested in the terms of my bracket. Like, this bracket's already ruined for me.
Of those competing for first, Ray had Cora, so that is impacted. But not many people had Timmy Turner. Toasty had Timmy Turner, which put him up closer to Ray in the standings. But yeah, this was nuts. I was hoping for Cora. Honestly, I think she deserved it. But Timmy versus Squidward, what a matchup.
Yeah, I would not have guessed this. Timmy is, though, he's in here. He's doing his best. So we've got SpongeBob, we've got Avatar, and we've got Fairly Odd Parents, and he is the sole representative of his show. So, Yeah. Oh, wait, no, and Danny Phantom is also the sole rep of his show.
As AC Wilder put it for us on Twitter, we now exclusively have SpongeBob, Avatar, and Butch Hartman characters. Kind of makes sense when you think about it. Those are probably the most popular franchises from Nick.
Yeah, and so 6 of the 8 are from 2 shows, right? We've got just, it's what we would have expected, more or less. I
Yep.
think it's a, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think it's possible that SpongeBob as a show gets knocked after this one. I don't know if I think that's plausible. I don't know. Squidward
you
versus
gotta
Timmy
think
is a
one
weird
of them
game.
will win, right?
Yeah,
You gotta think one of the SpongeBob people will win, but
you'd think. I don't know. Squidward versus Timmy is actually, that's a weird game for me. It's not a game
I have no way to predict it. I don't know what'll happen.
It's not a game I had to think about, right? Like,
right. No one had
just-
this. No one had Squidward versus Timmy predicted.
no, because it's weird. It's a weird matchup.
Yeah.
And I don't know. God, I go back and forth. I do, because I think, well, to be honest with you, I didn't really think that many people liked Squidward as a character.
Me neither. Or Timmy
But-
for me. I thought Timmy was seen as like an annoying character in a great show.
Yeah,
But I think Timmy will win now that I think about it. But
I don't know, though, because,
yeah.
I mean, not that I loved Cosmo particularly, but he's a more likable, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe he's not more likable, but Squidward's such a downer, right?
Yeah, I've been
Like, I
starting to
wouldn't-
picture the characters reacting to the results of the games, and I think Squidward would totally flaunt it. He would be so excited. He would be like, get out of my way, everyone. I'm going for the championship. Like, move out of the way, SpongeBob.
Processing it, if Squidward had 57% against Cosmo, I think people would like Timmy more than Cosmo. I say that with,
Maybe.
like,
It's kind of
such
the Sokka
hesitancy.
Aang thing all over again, right?
yeah, it's a little
Funny
different, though, right?
sidekick versus main character, although Timmy is nowhere near
That's
as
what I
deep
was
as
gonna say.
Aang.
It's definitely different because both Sokka and Aang are more deep than either
Right, of
Squidward or
course.
Timmy.
But they're seated similarly. Timmy and Aang are
True,
twos.
true.
Cosmo and Sokka both beat the odds to get to where they are.
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm going back and forth on this one. Is there Cosmo specific love out there? I don't know.
I
I'm
thought people liked him, but
it's just, I'm torn. I really am. I could see. I'm going back and forth on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Squidward wins. Casey said that Timmy wins, just so that we've got one person right and one person wrong, and we can gloat about it next week. Sound good?
I love it. I love it. Well, so yeah, now we have, if we're thinking of this by conference or in terms of always having a Final Four, right? Last week we had the Final Fours of each conference. This week we have the Final Fours of each side of the bracket, right? So we now have 4 on each side competing for that championship slot. Or you could say play-ins to participate in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's intense. I think any of these 8 could win their games, truly. And that'll
Yeah.
make it really fun to watch these results come in.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. I guess do we wanna get a little bit further into those prediction brackets now?
Yeah. So Ray stays on top with 85 points now. But Toasty is creeping up in second, just 1 point behind. So I won't give it away, but Toasty had some bold predictions that if they go right, Toasty will win, but I'm not sure they will go right. So Ashli's in third, still doing solid. Only has 1 eliminated of the future games, so that looks promising. I'm in fourth, 6 points behind Ashli. And I have 2 eliminated moving forward, so that puts me at a disadvantage. But Ashli and I have pretty different results, so
I think we actually have exclusively different results.
oh man, you're right. We picked each remaining game differently. That's funny.
So yeah,
except we both had Jimmy Neutron in that Final Four slot.
Well,
'cause
but
we
that
both
doesn't matter
learned from
anymore.
Last year. Yeah. Celeste,
nothing that can be right can get both me and Casey points.
Right. Celeste is in 5th behind me, but had Helga going pretty far, so that'll be tough for for Celeste to pull out a victory. Trevor S is tied with Celeste. Allie the Writer's in 7th, Dylan S in 8th, Yesenia in 9th. My dad is in 10th, and here's the interesting thing. My dad had weird picks throughout, right? He loves Ren and Stimpy, so he had Ren and Stimpy going far. He's now in 10th place, right in the middle of the pack. However, my dad is the only one remaining who has a potentially perfect bracket from here on out. My dad could win out the tournament, which we ran the simulation. If my dad's picks all win in these next 3 rounds, he finishes in first by 16 points. So that would be kind of awesome.
Yeah, I'm almost rooting for it to happen.
And they could all happen. Like, look at these matchups. I don't want to say who they are, but like if you're looking at them, they're all reasonable.
Think one of them is a bit unlikely there.
Is that the one we were arguing about?
No, I'm highlighting it here.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I
that's
think
true.
that's
You're right.
a pretty big reach. Other than that, I think they're all really plausible, but I think that one specifically, and we'll talk about it after it happens, I think that one...
Maybe I'll run a simulation where that one is wrong and see if he still pulls it off.
I guess...
I think he would still win.
I think it depends on who else had it right?
Right,
16
so I'd have
points
to run 4
16 points.
simulations with all of the others, or I suppose 3.
Anyways...
regardless, that's fascinating.
If all of these are right, he technically can still win, and... That would be pretty wild.
Yep.
And everyone else has at least one game guaranteed to be wrong. Everyone's got at least 8 points out. A lot of people actually have 2 of these wrong. Even pretty high up there.
Do. Yeah.
2nd place,
you don't.
4th place, 5th place, 6th place, 7th place, 8th place, 9th place all have at least 2 games guaranteed wrong. So
it'll be interesting.
It's getting intense.
It would have been great if SpongeBob went down, because that just ruins everybody's brackets.
Yeah, that would have been nuts.
For the most part.
That ruins a lot.
11th place is Max with 59 points, just behind my dad, but he'll have a harder time of winning. In fact, it's probably impossible. I haven't done all the math. Tied for 11th is AC Wilder, who is unfortunately eliminated from winning. If your points possible is lower than Ray's current points, you're out, obviously, because Ray's not going to lose points. Patricia's in 13th, also eliminated. Nick is in 14th, eliminated. Cam is in 15th, eliminated. Tied for 15th is Jason, who is not eliminated. Jason still has 131 points possible, and Ray has 85 points currently. Sean is in 17th and can still win. Everybody else from 18th down, that's Jay, Courtney, Michael, Cameron, Norbert, and Marlena, are done, unfortunately. Specifically, Norbert, Marlena, and Courtney and Michael cannot win any more points. Oh, and same with Cameron. All 5 of them are officially done earning points, unfortunately.
I will say, we didn't run all the math. Jason and Sean might actually be out if they had enough points where they're gaining that Ray is also gaining. Do you know what I mean?
You're right, yep.
So we'd have to figure out the spread. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a good point. Once we get closer, we'll run more in depth. But I thought I'd do the easy eliminations. A lot of
people out. Hey guys, this has been a nuts time. Like I said, we've got one game where only one person can even get it right.
Yeah,
it's getting rough down here. It's getting crazy. Almost everyone's got red coming up, which red is how we mark guaranteed incorrect games, but
yes. And also keep in mind the points double every time, so like getting the Sweet 16 right got you 4 points per game. This week it's 8 points per game, so you always have the potential to win 32 points every round. But and if the championship is worth 32, obviously.
If you're out, don't be discouraged, guys. It's it's all part of the fun. This, like I said, crazy things happened. Stuff went nuts, and you can never be blamed for picking a more out there bracket, because a few votes went different ways. We totally would be looking at a completely different leaderboard. So,
yep.
Who knows?
But people are doing pretty well. People are mostly predicting the winners, It's getting a little messy, but like if you look at most of the games at this point, there's a lot of green. So
yeah. I will say, what would be really crazy, I don't think it'll happen, but technically we're still at a place right now that the championship could be an unpredicted champion. Like somebody unpredicted can still win.
That's true. Is there only one? No, there's many.
There's a couple. There's a good few
5,
in there.
Because there are only 3 champions that are still alive. We won't say who, but but 3 predicted champions are alive, which means 5 are not. And any of those 5 could pull it off.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a fairly good chance that nobody even gets that game right.
Wow, that would be fascinating. That'd be fun.
That would be. Okay, sorry. Getting all worked up about things. This is going to be a week to watch. And definitely, I think we're going to see at least one more nail biter coming up this week. I think at least one of these is going to be within the 1 or 2 votes.
What if they're all 51-49?
I will die.
Yeah, me too.
Of anxiety. Just like straight anxiety. I will start posting the polls on my Facebook to get more people, because I don't even care necessarily about losing. I just, like, part of me just can't help but be sad when it's that close. I'm like, but if 5 more people voted, would it have been the same? Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? I get so up in my head. Okay.
Yeah, because I kept thinking, I was like, oh, we've got, 30 more minutes, SpongeBob, Timmy, they still might lose. But it didn't work out. They took their reins back.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's about it. The predictions, like, it's a lot of people's games still. A lot of people are still in here to potentially win it. A lot of it comes down to the power of the sponge versus the power of the avatar, and we're just gonna have to wait it out.
And the power of Butch Hartman, of course.
Yes. Can't forget him.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right, we good to close this bad boy out?
Yes. Last thing I want to predict. Rank for me the order of those 3 in terms of who will win it all. Between Avatar, Butch Hartman, and SpongeBob. There's a lot to consider.
I think Butch Hartman has the weakest chance.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree.
And Casey, that's the whole question.
Yeah,
truthfully.
I think I'm more Team Avatar and you're more Team SpongeBob in terms of predicting.
It's not even necessarily that. I'm honestly I'm just cautiously pessimistic, if that makes sense. I honestly think Avatar has an edge here. But, like, it's just so hard to know. It's just so hard to know what's in people's heads until it happens, because all sorts of games would have gone different ways, obviously. So I honestly think we're looking at a pretty tight race between SpongeBob and Avatar as shows for the winner here.
Right. It'll be interesting if either it becomes show exclusive champions like SpongeBob versus Patrick or Zuko versus Aang. Or Zula versus Aang would be interesting too.
Yeah, I just don't know anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would say I do think Butch Hartman, though. I think that those are the least likely characters. I think Timmy and Danny, while great, I don't see either of them pulling it out. We'll see.
Me neither. All right. Yeah, let's head over to our conclusion.
Alright guys, Twitter poll is again no official Twitter poll other than the very, very important Twitter polls to vote for Nick Madness. We will have a 2-day poll this time. Saturday the 24th is when we're going to be throwing that one out for you guys. You'll have 2 whole days. That second day matters. We found that out very much. Does.
I really didn't think it did. I was like, no one votes on the second day, right? And then it flipped 2 enormous games this week.
Yeah, we almost talked about, I don't remember exactly which ones, but there was a couple of games that we were like, do we do 2 days? I mean, it almost never flips on the second day anyways. And I feel like this was just like the universe being like, 2-day polls, 2-day polls are the way to go.
Yeah, but we'll have a 4-day for the championship, so that'll be interesting.
I do hope it's a close championship, because last year
I think it wasn't. To be.
Right? Last year...
Yeah, SpongeBob decimated Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, so I think...
Which, thank goodness, but...
I think we're looking towards a tighter, more intense game, but I am hoping for it. I would love a 51% winner for the champion. I think that would be anxiety-inducing and wonderful all at the same time.
Yeah, this has been thrilling. These results have been so close. There were a few blowouts early on, of course, but... There have been some real nail-biters, even though there haven't been a ton of upsets. we've got 2 5 seeds and 2 3 seeds in the Elite Eight, which are technically upsets. Again, we should have only 1s and 2s left. So, plus we could have 2 5 seeds in the Final Four, which would also be interesting.
Yeah, a lot of things going on.
Yes. Next week we will have these round 4 results, which means we will have a Final Four. Oh man. We'll go over our prediction bracket leaders again, and we will preview those Final Four matchups.
Casey, I'm already anxious knowing that we're going to be hitting that Final Four.
Oh, so soon.
Boy. As always, be sure to find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, especially Twitter, guys. Look at those polls, watch them, feel the anxiety that we do. Share them with anyone and everyone. I'm losing it, guys. It's nuts. It's nuts.
I just keep refreshing them all day, or if I'll forget for a couple hours, I'll be like, oh my god, the polls are still live.
Though I do want to really quickly just note that nothing as crazy as this has been, nothing is as crazy as the actual March Madness UMBC versus Virginia game.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah. The Soccas versus the SpongeBobs.
Go Retrievers, go. Okay.
Yeah, fortunately they lost afterwards, but...
Rip.
Yeah. Good times. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Keep voting. Send us more memes. We love them. And we'll see you next time.